Hi, Kylie here, and welcome to my Plan With Me for August 2025. The theme for this month is robots and technology. It was really robots, and then I decided I would add technology in as well, just in case. But as I went through and started drawing these things out, I decided that I'd definitely add in technology too. The quotes I'll get to when I talk about them, but largely I ended up with stuff out of Robopocalypse. There you go. If you haven't read the book, it's fantastic. Quick interlude. Derek and I went to the Red Centre, which is actually the middle of Australia, for a photography trip in July. So this is the travel journal that I've done. You can see there are no words in there yet, but I thought that I would actually share some of the visuals with you, the paintings, and it's sort of a different look. It's in a proper watercolour sketchbook. So, you can see a little bit of a different style from me. When I was going through and coming up with what visuals I was going to include, the basic process that I have is that I sit down with that planning journal and, draw up some ideas that go along with the theme. And sometimes I also look at Pinterest for inspiration, depending on how I'm going with thinking about it for myself. When I put technology into Pinterest, it came up with a cassette tape. And so I decided that, there are all these other technologies that I might be able to do as well. And so I sat down and thought about it and decided that the title page would be Technologies that have helped move humans and our society forward. So you can see here we go right back to the Stone Age and stone tools, then fire, the wheel. We've got a sailing boat, we've got irrigation, you've got a spool of thread for making material. There is a windmill, compasses and a clock. Then over on the right-hand side, we've got books because I really couldn't draw a printing press, and a telegraph, a camera, a steam engine. Then there'll be a light bulb, a telephone, a steam train, the first sort of version of a car, which is very different than cars are. There's the Kitty Hawk with the Wright brothers, a rocket from the early space program, the first PC, a microchip, or a processor for a computer, a radio, an old television, and an iPhone. So just a whole different range of technologies that were integral to where we are in society, where we are now. So, there are a whole heap of other ones, but these are the ones I decided to include. I could have been here for days trying to include all of them. Like I said, we went to the Red Centre in July, so July was actually quite a nice month. We got some holidays for the first time in quite a while, which were very well received by us. We've both had quite a lot of work and a lot of stuff going on, so we went to, like I said, Alice Springs, Uluru and Katajuta for a week. And then we came back and had a week in which I finished the files for my next book and sent them through to the printer. My next book is actually about drawing, so it is about drawing icons for visual note-taking, but, you can use it as a prompt for drawing a whole range of different things, really. It's an A to Z, and I will definitely share more information about it, particularly once the books come back from the printer. And that's all very exciting. The printing should be finished this week, and then it's going to take 8 weeks for them to get here by sea from China. So, it's not going to be quick, but it is very exciting. It's also very daunting because my previous books that I have self-published have been done through print on demand. So there's not like a really big outlay and everything for it. And, I could just put them up and Amazon or any other online bookstore will actually just deal with the whole thing, and I don't have to worry about shipping or doing any of that. Whereas I'm sort of making a commitment to go, oh, okay, I'm going to have to put this on my website, finally work out the store properly on my website, get them all up there and do all the shipping, plus have 500 copies of them here, plus the financial outlay of that and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a different process for me. I'm very excited about it because I think it's come out really well and I can't wait to see it in print, but it's also a bit daunting. And then the weekend after, so the weekend that's just been, we went up to Cradle Mountain for a long weekend. So if you haven't been in Tasmania, or if you are in Tasmania and you have not been up into the northwest and up to Cradle Mountain, I highly recommend it. The northwest of Tassie is just spectacular scenery, full stop. But Cradle's, it's a little bit special. And we had a lovely time up there. The plan was that we were going up at a time that it would be good to get a Milky Way photo over the top of Cradle Mountain. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't kind to us. So we did get a little bit of a slightly cloud-free night on the Sunday night, but not cloud-free enough for it to actually, for us to get a decent photo. So we're just going to have to go back at another time and try to get the photo then. It was lovely though, doing a few little walks. I took a lot of macro photos. We saw lots of wildlife, wombats, quolls, paddymillans, a possum and echidna. Like, it was just really special and quite a nice relaxing time, which was great. So that means that July's been pretty sort of, low intensity with work. I don't have a lot of client work on at the moment, which, look, it's always a little bit daunting because my brain just does but hang on a minute, what happens if I don't get any work? But I'm not at that point yet. It's all good. I'm looking forward to having a little bit of time to complete some of my personal projects. The book being one of them, but I have a few others as well that have been on the cards for a while. So looking forward to having a bit of space to do some of my own creating, which will be good. My quote for this month: living for its own sake isn't life. People need meaning as much as they need air. So this is from Robopocalypse by Daniel H. Wilson. There's also a sequel which is called Robogenesis. And look, I read Robopocalypse probably about 10 or 11 years ago and thoroughly enjoyed it. The other book, I didn't sort of hunt for a sequel. I didn't realise there would be one. But a couple of years after that, I found the sequel and read it and enjoyed it as well. Maybe, I don't know, it's a bit of a cautionary tale around robots, obviously, Robopocalypse, and artificial intelligence and those sorts of things. Maybe it's a good time for more people to read the cautionary tale. But it's really a lovely book with great storytelling, so highly recommend. The layout for my first weekly layout, I've included robots. So let's start with robots. There's 3 different types of little robots on here. I just picked 3 of my favourites from the planning journal. And robots, look, they're really fun to draw. They don't have a lot of rules associated with them. You can make them look a little bit human, or you can make them look really robotic. You can put them on tracks, on wheels, on legs. You can make them stationary entirely. You can make them look a little bit human. You can make them look completely inhuman. They're just fun. There's just lots of random shapes that you can put together. And I like drawing them. I've done robots a couple of times as themes for my journal. So there you go. In relation to technology, doing technologies, so as I said, I sort of found the cassette tape and thought, I can do all sorts of different technologies then for my bullet journal, like for the title page. And I decided I would have one of my layouts as music technology. So there's a little record player, a cassette tape, a CD Walkman, and otherwise known as a Discman, or an iPod, and an iPod, I should say. Brain's not functioning now. This is the 4th time I've tried to record this, so let's see how we go this time. So just different types of music technology. And given that I turned 53 during July, I have experienced all of them, which is, always a little bit of fun to think about. I do have some things that I, did own as records that had to, or cassettes that had to then be repurchased as CDs, which have then been uploaded. So I haven't had to repurchase them again, but you know how that works. It's all a little bit much to reconstitute your music collection time and time again, but that's how it goes. I hope that your July has been good. Like I said, mine's been really nice. I hope that yours has gone well and you are keeping yourself safe and sane in this crazy world that we're currently living in. I do always try to keep this as a happy place where I don't talk about what's going on in the world and all the politics and everything else. And I really want to try to continue to do that, but honestly, it's getting a lot more difficult. And so please know that I am significantly affected by things like the genocide that is occurring in Gaza, that Israel is inflicting upon them, but we're not going to talk about that. I hope that August will be good for you too. Like I said, I've got a bit of time to work on my own personal projects, which will be good. The next one that I really want to get on top of is the Oracle card deck that I sort of plotted out well over 18 months ago now, and I would really like to get that one done. I'm actually quite excited about that, so let's hope that I have enough time to get that finished before client work sort of steals my focus again, which would be really nice. This layout, so this weekly layout, we've got a robotic arm, and then underneath that we've got some cogs. I draw a lot of cogs in the graphic scribing that I do because we use cogs a lot to represent processes and systems. And given that I draw a lot for organisations, they come up a bit. So I'm quite used to drawing the rounded teeth. It's sort of, a bit of muscle memory in there now for that. And then the final layout is these little crawler robots. I've done a similar layout before where I've had a heap of them coming down the page, but they were rectangular, so, a lot more angular in the way that they presented. I decided this time I was going to draw them a little bit rounder. They're really fun to draw because you can give them quite expressive faces even though they've only got eyes. So you can get a little bit of emotion in there. There are ones that look a little bit surprised or alert, and then that one that's third from the top that's looking just a little bit angry. Don't really like what he's going to be doing. But I do enjoy them, and who knows, they might appear somewhere else. But that's the last weekly layout. We then have the reflection and lettered lessons page, and then we'll be finishing up, really. But as always, I thank you for being here, and I hope that I'm not rambling too much. I hope that you're enjoying watching these videos. Again, you could like or subscribe if you haven't already, but that's completely if you would like to. I am hoping that with some of the additional time I have, I can do some more videos that are a little bit different than just my bullet journal videos. But, the priority is getting the book ready and up and going, and then trying to get the Oracle cards completed. So here is my bullet journal for August. Thank you again for being here. I do really appreciate your time, and I hope to see you again at the end of August to draw up September. So thank you very much, and have a lovely August. Bye.